Hendrenal is a fruit farm, pick your own. Has been going since 1978-79, growing strawberries, raspberries, currants and
gooseberries. We started growing some vegetables in the last couple of years, which we've proved very popular. We've also included some blackberries, which are an early variety of blackberry which come in and fit into our season very well with the late raspberries.
And some pumpkins, as you can see.
Yes, pumpkins.
Just a few.
When we were exploring how we were going to move forward with the farm, we realised that we needed far more jam than we were able to produce ourselves. And we were at the Cowbridge Food Festival a couple of years ago and met up with Homemade Country Preserves. And they were open to negotiating with us and seeing whether we could work together.
I'm Chris Evans, Homemade Country Preserves. We make a vast number of different varieties of jam, marmalade, chutney, and we also make a no added sugar range. We buy everything as local as possible when it's in season and when we can. Otherwise we go to wholesalers. The advantage of buying fruit local is to support other businesses and to cut down on food miles and using what's readily available. Right, this is some raspberry jam using Hendrenal's fruit. Beautiful red colour on it. This will be going into their shop, which they have up there, and be sold under their brand. Back last year, Hendrenal approached us to use up their surplus fruit as a way of preserving it, to make jam for them, and also to make an ice cream preparation jam to go to cowpots.
It then gets brought back to our farm, and then that's put into the ice cream, and then the ice cream's prepared for Hendrenal under their brand.
Hendrenal has a farm shop, so they can sell the preserves and the jam in the shop that we make for them when they send their surplus fruit. It cuts down on an awful lot of waste.
The idea of putting us all together was developed over the summer, a bit of a crash course between Homemade Country Preserves, Cowpots Ice Cream and Hendrenal. It worked reasonably well once we got into it, and we knew when the fruit was coming down to be made into the preserve. Next year, next season, we hope that the whole system will work far better, because we know more or less what sort of volumes will be involved.
We have made a conscious decision to work with local producers who are specialists in an artisan way. It's very early days for us in developing the jams and the ice creams. It's just that we've had such a fabulous first season working in this way. It's just gone very easily. We've had a lot of demand. We sold this year as many pots of jam that we would have sold probably in the previous 10.
We enjoyed a much better summer. There's no doubt about it. 2013 has been much kinder than the previous years. The sales are generated through getting more known and working again with other businesses. It's in everyone's interest to promote each other. None of us are alone. Then we've got to understand that by working with other people, there are benefits that go all ways. And it works because it is local. That is the whole point.
This was our first season with Hendrenal and Cowpots in doing this food chain that we've got. It's been very, very successful, and I anticipate that next year it will grow even bigger.
Well, I think Cowpots have the experience making the ice cream. They have experience of making ice cream and selling it, because they sell their own ice cream.
That's right. Our flavour selection at the beginning was very important, wasn't it?
Yes.
Because we naturally just thought we should be doing what we supply them in terms of the fruit. And they were saying to us, well, we need to have a bit of a broader range,
Yes.
don't we?
This Halloween we made them pumpkin ice cream with some ginger.
Pumpkins aren't really seen and used as vegetables as they can be. They're just used to make lanterns for children. It was a great success. It was a lovely product. We put some ginger in with it and the ice cream came out absolutely wonderful.
It's been very much a a learning curve for us, but I think they've also been hugely helpful in giving us the benefit of their experience. Likewise, Christine at Homemade Country Preserves, being able to tell us about what we needed in way of labelling, the regulations, things that we hadn't done before because we hadn't been producing the volume.
So it's a really good relationship between three producers.
The issues, I think, even though they are local, it is Pembrokeshire. So we have got that issue of the
distance.
Yeah.
The first is the backwards and forwards. There's the actual supplying, and we've learnt to work it back to back. So the person delivering the ice cream to us has been taking the fruit back to them.
And Cowpots and Homemade Country Preserves are close by, and they have been absolutely fantastic in sorting out the delivery between the two of them.
Our plans, certainly for the future, next season, will be to incorporate more of their products.
Hendra are now deciding to venture out and grow rhubarb after the success of me making rhubarb preserve, to go into Cowpots ice cream as rhubarb and custard, which they thought was a great idea, and they'd like to get in on that one.
I believe they put the crowns in this year, and they'll be developed as time goes on. It's another fruit for them to grow.
The ice cream and the jams that we have at the beginning of the season are made with the fruit that was picked last season. But it's an absolute key part of our strategy now, is to elongate our seasons.
More of our fruit we would like to source more locally if possible. That would be great, but it has to be in a preserved form. We haven't the facility to take a raw fruit, for instance, and turn it into a jam. We would have to ask another colleague in the industry to help prepare that for us.
Well, the advice I'd give to other growers who are thinking of working with us and setting up a supply chain is go and meet the people and really know the product.
We would like to source locally some good quality blackberries, which are a bit of a hit and miss depending on the weather, to pick wild ones. So it would really be an advantage for somebody to grow them.
My advice to any grower from Wales wishing to venture into this sort of thing, or already are up and running growing fruit, would be to perhaps, yes, talk to as many ice cream producers as there are, or yoghurt producers, anyone that would use fruit in the product. We do need to talk to each other.
We're not always aware of who is growing what and where. I think a bit more communication from these fruit growers to people like us, so we can source more local, and they can also use a lot of their excess fruit in preserving it this way. Fruit growers need to take into consideration when they're planting their trees, what they're going to do in their bushes, what they're going to actually do with all the fruit. They're going to get surplus, they're going to get fruit that isn't a grade A, and there is actually quite a lot that can be done with that. It can be made into jam, but they must always have a backup plan. What are they going to do with the fruit that is not going to sell?
We're absolutely specifically not in the business of a large supermarket weighing into a local producer. And there's an interdependency. It's a two-way street.
Recently I met a local grower that phoned me that had over-picked fruit, didn't have an outlet for it, kept it all in a cold room, and asked me if I could use it. So we went up and we purchased all this fruit at the right price. Well, we had fields of those, he said, which have just been all left to rot. It was too late to pick. And I said, well, you know, next year think about it, think what you can do, give me a ring, we can come to some arrangement, and they can be used.
If we knew that they were out there, it would be so much easier to do business with them.